What's going on, guys? Welcome back to What Cheers. I'm Nick, as always, and tonight's review I am very excited for. You already know what it is. If you don't, well, I'm about to tell you. This is it's a big deal. Basically, what the review is of the beer called Focal Banger. It's an American IPA that was just released for the first time ever in cans by the Alchemist. And as you probably all know, I would hope that by now that the Alchemist is the brewery that makes Heady Topper, which is the #1 beer in the world, according to BeerAdvocate. And I've reviewed it before on this channel. It still holds up, in my opinion, as the double IPA to beat. Like, there's nothing that comes close to a fresh Heady Topper. So when the Alchemist decided to release this, it's a huge deal because they are known as having the best beer in the world, the best IPA in the world. So a little backstory about the Alchemist very briefly. Back in 2011, they were a brew pub serving food and beers. They had a lot of different beers going on at that time, and unfortunately Hurricane Irene actually came through there in Waterbury and flooded the entire place. They destroyed the Alchemist entirely, and it was obviously a very hard time for them to get through. However, they were just about to open up their cannery in a nearby location to produce Heady Topper full time, and so that did not get destroyed, and that's why over the past few years now it's just been Heady Topper coming out of the Alchemist cannery. Eventually what was the Alchemist brew pub turned into the Prohibition Pig, which is an amazing restaurant down in the center of Waterbury. But the big deal about it now is that since then, all they've ever done is release Heady Topper. And, well, that's kind of great since it's the highest rated beer in the world now, and it's basically the double IPA to beat. So now it's been a few years, they've sold a ton of Heady Topper, everybody knows what it is, everybody knows it's the best, and now they're finally starting to pull out some old recipes and release some of those beers on draft in the area near the Alchemist. The cannery is now shut down to the public, but they continue to make Heady Topper full time there, and they're looking to open up a new facility. And what they're going to do there is they're going to can this beer right here, Focal Banger. The Focal Banger is going to be their second full-time canned beer once they open up their new facility. So it's a very, very huge deal, obviously, to commit to make another beer even comparable to Heady Topper or up to that standard that everyone's going to expect is a huge undertaking. I'm sure they feel a lot of pressure about that. So they just released their first ever batch of the Focal Banger IPA just this past weekend, and obviously it was a huge deal, sold out immediately, huge lines and everything like that, the whole deal. And so they only had a couple hundred cases. I was lucky enough to have a trading partner nearby to hook me up with a few cans to try it out, and yeah, it's just a real treat to get to try the follow-up to Heady Topper, as it were. So right now this is a temporary logo. It's just a sticker that they actually just put on all the cans, but there will be a printed professional label once they release another batch. But this is batch 1, first ever canning of Focal Banger, and it is an American IPA, as I said, with Mosaic and Citra hops. So very, very cool stuff. It's 7% alcohol, Mosaic and Citra IPA. And I also, my buddy hooked me up with a just as fresh as the Focal Banger. It's a can of Heady Topper. So I thought it'd be fun to do a little comparison. Let's see how they stack up to one another, side by side. Some differences, some things that are alike about them. I will make an exception, and I will pour a small amount of the Heady Topper into the glass so that we can actually see visually how the two look different. But I will drink the rest of it out of the can as they wish you to do. So with all that being said, guys, very big deal. Let's get into the Focal Banger and the Heady Topper and see what we've got. Alright guys, got the Focal Banger and the Heady Topper poured. Let's take a look at them. Well, as you can see, they look pretty similar. Really similar, actually. The Heady Topper is just a little bit darker, but other than that, they look identical to me. Just really like a nice honey, kind of golden color to it. Both hazy, completely hazy, can't see anything through it. But yeah, just the Heady Topper looks just a little bit darker, but other than that, they look identical. Let's start actually with the Focal Banger, since that's the single IPA as opposed to the double IPA. Oh my god. It smells like the Alchemist, like it smells like Heady. Let me just try to explain that. There's something about the aroma that if you did this blind, you probably could tell that it smells like Heady Topper. If you've had Heady Topper enough and you know that aroma, it's very distinct, it's very unique. There's not many beers that even come close to it, which is why it's so famous, because it is so unique. But there's just an aroma, a bouquet of hop aroma that is very distinct to Heady Topper. It's got this fresh pine, fresh citrus. It's got a dankness to it that is just indescribable, like how good it is. Wow. I mean, it's just hard to describe how good this smells. It's got the tropical fruit smells. It's got this fresh, dank pine scent to it. Really, it kind of is so unique that it's impossible to describe. Very similar to what Heady Topper smells like, but since I've got Heady Topper right here, let's go ahead and compare. Okay. Very interesting to me, actually, because I think this smells like more like what I thought Heady Topper smelled like until I smelled Heady Topper. This one here, I'm getting like almost like a bright citrus fruit, like a bright orange or a lemon. Getting some sweetness as well. Now this is a very fresh can, probably almost just as fresh as the Focal Banger, so it's a very good comparison. I'm not really getting a ton of that dankness quality that I associate with the Heady Topper usually. I'm getting more of a bright citrusy note, maybe a little bit of that pine, maybe a little bit of that resin, but bright citrus, kind of orange and lemon tones to that. And then, let's see this. Yeah, I'm getting a lot more of that resinous character to it. Just a really like sticky, sweet, citrusy, dank, like fresh cut pine. Both smell amazing, guys. Let's just go ahead and get a sip at this point. Cheers. Right up front you get hit with the hops, like blast of fresh, juicy, kind of citrusy, tropical fruit hops. Just smack your tongue, and it is a serious bitter hop bomb, but in the best way possible. There's some sweetness to balance it out, but honestly, the malt is very little here. It's a hot bomb all the way, but it does have that like fresh cut pine resinous character to it. Some of that like grapefruit rind bitterness to it. Some really nice citrus notes though, very like peach and mango and stuff like that as well. But man, it is an absolute hop bomb. Very, very nice stuff. Dries out your tongue too. Let's go ahead and get a sip on Heady Topper, guys. Why not, right? Oh, it's Heady Topper. It's fresh Heady Topper. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. The malt character to Heady Topper is kind of just an amazing thing because it really is. It just balances out the extreme hop profile. Whereas the Focal Banger doesn't really have much of a malt backbone to it. The Heady Topper definitely has almost like a honey. I always compare it to it tastes like a honey kind of flavor. It's just that pop of sweetness that kind of balances out the extreme hop character that you have getting thrown at your palate. Just a very, very incredible beer. Yeah, with Heady Topper, you just get more of that sweetness, like that immediate sweetness, kind of carries through the entire sip over your palate. You're getting the intense hop character. You're getting that intense blast of fresh, like juicy hops. You know, that pininess, that resinous. But you're getting it with that sweetness all the way through. Whereas I feel like the Focal Banger doesn't really have too much sweetness. It's more of an in-your-face kind of palate wrecker almost, if you want to call it, but it's a definite hot bomb that is to be reckoned with. Both incredible beers, guys. I'm going to sit with these for a few minutes, kind of think about it, taste a little bit more, and I'll get back to you with my final thoughts and scores. Alright guys, so I'm back. I've let both beers kind of sit out for a little bit, breathe a little bit. You know, I want to dive into them one more time with you guys and then kind of give you my final thoughts. But I can tell you right now, right off the bat, you know, I have smelled them and tasted them. You know, they're world-class IPAs. You know, you have to keep in mind that the Focal Banger is actually a single IPA, whereas the Heady Topper is a double IPA. So there's that, and they, you know, they are very, very similar in the aroma and the taste. They have their uniqueness, obviously. Otherwise, there would be no point in making the two different beers. But there's a cool kind of, I don't know, it's just like a stamp, like a trademark about the Alchemist IPAs that you can tell. You know, I think that the Focal Banger has a lot of characteristics of Heady. I think that if you smelled it blindly, like I said originally, you could probably tell that you'd say, oh, that smells like Heady Topper. Maybe it is. It's very similar, but it does have slight differences to it. Yeah, again, with the Focal Banger, it's just, there's a great kind of balance of pine, resin, citrus, tropical fruit notes to it. Very aromatic, just very in your face kind of, but this freshness to it, like a fresh hop character to it that is very, very unique. And as for the Heady Topper, of course, guys, we know it's got a milder aroma than the Focal Banger, which I think the Focal Banger wins on that. You know, it's sweet, it's got that pine, it's got that resin, a little bit of citrus notes, but it's not as punch you in the face with the aromatics. And again, that's why they tell you to drink it out of the can, because you know, a lot of those aromatics from the hops are packed in there for a reason. I'll be curious to see if on the official release of the Focal Banger, if John actually has that drink from the can printed on this. It'll be very interesting to see if he decides to go that way with his future IPAs. So we'll see. But yeah, a little bit milder aroma, a little bit sweeter smelling. And the Heady Topper, I mean, it's it's perfected. They have it down. If you get a Heady Topper now, and you get another Heady Topper 6 months from now, a year from now, it's going to be the same beer. You're going to get the same exact things out of it. The recipe is pinned down to us. It's a science. So you know that you're going to get Heady Topper the same way always now. Whereas Focal Banger, this is the very first batch. It's practically a test batch. They even admitted they're still working out the malt bill on it. But what you'll find with Heady Topper as opposed to the Focal Banger is, it's a bigger beer, but it's better balanced. It's more balanced. The malt bill is wonderful, and it complements Heady Topper is jam packed with hops, but they don't come across as biting and in your face, because the malt bill kind of meshes with that, balances it out a little bit. It's kind of like a honey sweetness, but you can know the hops are there, but they're not tearing your palate apart. Basically, if it's almost like a creamy, and I've said this before. It has a sort of medium to full mouthfeel to it, a creamy mouthfeel. It's very, very smooth. And what you have with the Focal Banger is maybe a little bit less refined version of a Heady Topper. Maybe a little bit more astringent, a little bit more in your face. Now, as far as the alcohol is concerned, it's only 1% lower than Heady Topper. And, it's extremely drinkable. Neither one of these beers do you detect any sort of alcohol presence whatsoever in the aroma and the flavor. It's not even there. It's not even a question. Alright guys, I know I took forever on this review, but I think it was an important one, especially when you're talking about the brewery who's putting out the highest rated beer in the world. When they put out their new beer, it's something to definitely take note of. I'm lucky that I was able to try this beer. I had no idea if the Alchemist was ever going to put out anything else. I mean, they could obviously sustain themselves just on selling Heady Topper. But I really like that they're finally, realizing that they want to put out some other beer. It just doesn't have to be just Heady Topper, and I love that. So, when it comes down to it, guys, to simplify things for you as far as, whatever you want to think about what the Focal Banger might be. Is it epic? Is it awesome? Absolutely. Is it similar to Heady? Can you tell that it's as good quality as Heady? Absolutely, yes, you can. You can, like I said, again, you can smell this, and you can pretty much smell Heady Topper. I'd say they're both incredible. Heady Topper is still the better beer. Heady Topper is perfected, and Heady Topper has been perfected for a long time. So you have to understand that, they're still going to tweak Focal Banger, and I'm sure it's going to get better and better and better. As far as I know, and I really don't know if anyone knows this, they can tell me, but I don't know what hops are in Heady Topper. They don't tell you what hops are in Heady Topper. I'm sure you can guess. If you're a brewer, you probably know maybe some of the hops, but they do not tell you what hops are in Heady Topper. The Focal Banger, they tell you right there. It's Mosaic and Citra. There you go. Anyways, guys, I am so sorry this review is so long, but I was really excited. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would say, I'm going to try to get this review up. If this review is pretty recent, trade for Focal Banger. Obviously, I'm sure you'd be interested in it if you like Heady Topper. Trade for Focal Banger. They're going to be putting it out again, so when you hear that name, you'll know what it's about. Trade for it. It's incredible. I'm sure anything that the Alchemist puts out is going to be delicious. So scores, guys, real quick on the two of these. Heady Topper, it's 100. It's still 100. It's still one of the best beers in the world. Easily one of my top few double IPAs in the world, if not my favorite. Focal Banger has a 98 score overall on Beer Advocate. I'm going to go ahead and agree with that score. I think, you know, that's perfect. 198, because this is almost perfect, not quite there, but it is an incredible IPA. It's basically like drinking a slightly lighter version of Heady Topper. That's the best way to describe it, to sum all of this up. So guys, thank you for watching, and get yourself some Focal Banger, man. What an awesome name, right? Alright guys, cheers. See you in the next beer review. If you have any questions or comments, or if you've had both of these like I did side by side, let me know what you think. Or if you've had either one on their own, let me know. I'm going to take a sip of this, and I'm going to go enjoy the rest of these. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to comment, subscribe, and see you next beer review. Cheers.